The explosive images of gambling mogul James Packer and his best mate Channel 9 boss David Gyngell punching each other to the ground outside Packer's home have made headlines around the world. And while Mr Packer's neighbours seem willing to let the incident pass, the fallout for the heavyweight pair may be more serious, with police now investigating the confrontation. Matt Peacock reports.
On the sunny streets of Bondi today, Sunday's brawl between Sydney's rich list heavyweights was the hot topic of cafe conversation.
There is no other conversation. There's none.
You wouldn't expect to see it in Bondi. You wouldn't, you don't. You don't see brawls in Bondi very often. No.
This is the TV van that apparently started it all. Casino king James Packer mistakenly thought David Gyngell's Channel 9 was staking out his penthouse.
The language from Mr Gyngell alone, if someone was using that language, I would call the police.
A startled neighbour, Chris Walker, heard the fight begin.
Crazy screaming. I go to the balcony, I look over the balcony, there's a guy on a phone. 5 minutes later, this goes on, it's swearing and cussing. It goes on, and then all of a sudden a car pulls up, out jumps Mr Packer, and a fight.
And what sort of fight? What happened?
It was like two dogs, really two dogs, in an ugly neck fight. Yeah, really bad.
The fight was captured by paparazzi who sold the pictures to Rupert Murdoch's news empire for a reported $200,000. An angry Gyngell, fresh from the surf, confronted an equally enraged James Packer, and they squared off. Both men appeared to land blows before falling to the ground, the barefooted Gyngell in a headlock.
If you were a boxing commentator, you'd be disappointed, but it was just fists going crazy and wild. So yeah, it was all in.
Today, police were seeking statements from neighbours and possible witnesses to the brawl. And opinion is divided over the corporate fistfight.
To be honest, I don't make much of it. I just feel sorry for them. You know, everyone's entitled to a private life, and you know, there's a lot of other famous people that live around here too, and I think everyone's entitled to have a tiff and not have it spread across the world.
There's some people who think or behave out without rules.
The Bondi brawl has attracted headlines around the world.
I hadn't been listening to the news here, but I was online to the Irish Independent, and that's where I actually read it. It was one of the top 10 stories in the Irish Independent online, so yeah, it was a bit of a shock.
It just doesn't happen very much that you get a billionaire fighting with the head of a major television network, and I think that's only in Sydney. I'm not sure whether we should be proud of it, but I don't think we should be ashamed of it.
There's never been another public company CEO who's turned up at a billionaire's house and conducted a public fight that has then gone all around the world, bringing great notoriety to Channel 9 and damaging Australia's reputation as sort of being the Wild West for business.
Both men were classmates at Sydney's exclusive Cranbrook School. Their families were entwined around the then Packer-owned Channel 9 network, where Gyngell's father, Bruce, also worked as its first CEO.
The important thing to remember is that they're much more than friends. They're like brothers. You know, they grew up together. And their parents, their fathers, were fathers to each of them in their own ways. So very well connected, and like brothers, they do have their brawls.
This latest brawl was physical, but the two men have had worse fights over Channel 9 itself, believes the station's former veteran, Gerald Stone.
There was much more bitterness between them when, in the last days of Kerry Packer, when he was still living in charge of Channel 9, James had wanted to make the station a lot more profitable. David took Kerry's side and wanted to carry on the tradition of being first in the ratings all the time. And so there was a great, not hatred, but antagonism between the two, and they survived that. So if they survived that, they could survive anything.
Some, though, believe the corporate ramifications of the brawl could be more serious.
You're talking about public money here and public figures, and I think the damage to Australia's reputation is significant. This is not the Wild West in the 1900s. You know, this is Australia in 2014, and I think that this should be taken quite seriously. And I think that you will see some processes around the casino tendering and Mr Gyngell's tenure come into play.
Others shrug it off as just another chapter of the wild men of Sydney.
Oh, look, I'm sure if they had their time over again, they probably wouldn't have done it, but these things happen.